All right, cool. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a cold calling live. And real quick, if you've been here before, let us know. And if you are here for the first time, you can let us know that as well. Um, Whoa, shout out to Poland. I thought it said Portugal, and I was about to get like even more
Oh
excited.
yeah.
I was like, dang, Portugal's in the house. Shout out to Portugal. But if you haven't been here before, what we do is we have people join live and they do their cold calls and we review it in real time. And so if you want to get on here live and run through your cold call and for us to break down, now is the time to do that. All right. So let us know what's going on. Let us know what's happening in your world. But if you do want to come on to the video and do your cold calling live, let's go. If not, if you have a question on cold calling, feel free to put it in the chat. And before we do go into that, we do need to introduce our guest. If you don't know who this is, it's my boy Will. But Will, tell us a little bit more about what's going on in your world, where are you coming from, and then let's get into it.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks, Morgan. My name is Will Padilla. I'm a senior account executive at Grin. We're one of the number one influencer marketing platforms in the world. Been in tech sales for about 3 years, and I also have a social media account that's by the name of Sell That SaaS on TikTok. So perhaps you maybe have seen me there. And really, I love cold calls. I think they're a great way to do a touch to an account, in addition to your already email and video prospecting.
All right, good stuff, y'all. All right, so everybody that's here, or we're still waiting for the person to the first call is always the
Yeah.
most nerve wracking. So again, whoever wants to hop in, please do that. But if you don't want to hop in, ask us a question in the Q&A so we can dive into it, answer all the things that you're looking for across the board. But we're gonna see who's coming in. So all right, we have someone who's ready. So we're gonna let this person in, and then we're gonna break down how this goes. So, Mikkel, what's going on?
Oh, hi there. Yes, thanks a lot.
I want to say, were you not ready for this?
Yeah, all right. So, what's going on, guys? The reason, what's the
Yeah, I'll
scenario
give you
here?
context. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll give you the scenario. So, the first thing is number one is what are you call? What do you typically call? So, is it a VP of sales? Is it a VP of marketing? That's helpful because one of us is going to be the prospect. Then let us know like what do you sell, so the audience and we also know what that means. And then once you give me the breakdown and the context on that, then we're good to go. One of us, I'll be the prospect in this scenario, and then we're gonna basically give you an assessment after.
All right. Sounds good. Okay, so quick intro.
Cool.
We sell advanced ERP systems to multinational clients. This is C-level executives. Yeah, and applications related to ERP systems.
Cool. And what did you say the persona was again?
The persona is the CEO or IT director.
Okay, cool.
Oh, I am
I will
thrilled, guys. This is my
be.
first live.
Here we go. I'm going to be the IT director. I
Okay,
have never worked in IT, so I'm going to do my best to be the prospect. But basically, the goal is for you to schedule the call across the
sure.
board. We'll get feedback after. So whenever you're ready to start the cold call, do a quick ring ring, and then we'll get into it.
All right, let's go. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hi, this is Mike. How are you?
I'm okay.
All right, so the reason I'm calling you is that we work with companies like yours and we help to optimize the ERP system by 50%. Is that something that sounds interesting for you?
50%.
Yes, it can be more. You want 50
Okay,
or
that
more?
that sounds yeah, that isn't that sounds an outlandish claim. Can you walk me through a company in my space that's done that?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to see the case study now? You've got a minute, right?
Oh yeah, if you could just tell me what the case study is. Yeah, if you want to send me an email, yeah, you can send me an email. That works.
Well, if you're ready now, I'll show you straight away. So, hey, listen, I'll show you now. So this is the company from the manufacturing sector like yours, working with BMW or with Volkswagen, and you are from the automotive as well, right?
Correct.
Perfect. So here it is. We were helping them to change one process. When we were analyzing the process on the way, we noticed that there is plenty of space for improvements. So in this case, they saved up to 50% in the ineffective processes. Would that be something you'd like to see on the demo call together with me tomorrow?
Yeah, but again, it sounds interesting. I mean, if you just send me an email, I'll forward it to someone on my team. We can go from there.
Oh, I see. So apparently there is someone in your team who might got interested in that.
Yes, yeah, and you could just forward it to them.
Okay, that sounds good. So how should I contact them? What's the best contact number for them?
Yeah, so I'll give you their email because they don't like to be called. So if you could just do
Oh, come on,
Will
Jake.
at
They will not read it because they don't have time. I'll call them straight away and show them what we've got.
I don't want that smoke. So they would be really disappointed if I just gave away the phone number. So it's Will at
All right. I see your point.
automotive.com.
No problem, Jake. So hey, listen. What about I send this email today? Can you please confirm the slots are available for tomorrow? I really want to make this time for you, and I want to have it booked in my calendar because I've got only 1 hour free, 11 a.m.
Well, I'm not free at that hour, so it looks like we're gonna have to
No,
at
your
least have a
colleague
call
from the
maybe a
team.
month from now. Say it again.
It's your colleague from the team who is going to join the call, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not free. I don't know if they're free either. So that's why I said you should just email them and you can figure it out from there. And I just email that email address I gave you. But I have to go. I have to hop into a meeting. So
Yeah, no problem.
hopefully you can get that connected.
I've got your email, so it's jake.yoursurname.companyname.com, right?
Yeah, correct.
Perfect. I'll send this right away in the next 5 minutes. Please confirm it's good for you. Cheers. Have a good day.
Oh, thank you. All right. Also, we're gonna give a round of applause. So good job. We got a round of applause. Good job. That's not easy. Oh, did he go out? Did he leave? Hold on.
There we go.
Oh no, he's still here. He's still here. He's still here. All right, cool. In the audience, if you want to give feedback in the chat, go ahead. Will, we're gonna start with you first to give the feedback, and then I'll give mine, and we'll go from there.
Yes. So is it Michael or Michal?
I don't think he went off video, so we might.
Okay, Michael. Okay, here we go. Michael. Hey, you know what? I have to give you first props to get up here first. That's not easy, and it's certainly not easy to do. Hey, there you are, Michael. Now
yes, thank you. I didn't know should I cancel the call or just be there in the chat. All right, thank you very much. I was so stressed because I didn't expect what's going to happen. I didn't know the status. It's the second time I've been here joining you. Last time I was listening to you guys, I didn't even know this button is active, so I just clicked it.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, I like that you came up here. It means you're wanting to improve your cold calls. So I'm all for it. So I think number one, you did a good job of like not giving up. Morgan gave you several rebuttals. The send me an email and you're like, come on, like, they're not going to read it. Like, I actually really appreciated that. So I liked how several times in the call you were not giving up. You were not taking no for an answer. I think you had a very strong cold call. I think for the most part, it was solid. You were definitely trying to tell them about some other brands in their space who really liked, who they could kind of relate to. I think where there could be some improvement, and this is just kind of like candidly, please just know that this is just for you to get better. I mean, you came up here. This is really hard. So I think for me, one of the things that stuck out to me was the opener. I think the opener, like, hey, it's Michael, how are you? I think sometimes if they lack context, especially if they've never heard of your company, they can kind of maybe either like hang up or what you don't want is you're going to get people in kind of a defensive mode of what's this call about? And then you're kind of into like this defense mode where the prospect's like, you give them your pitch and then they just say not interested. So I think perhaps you could try like a different opener. Like Morgan has several great openers. One of the ones that I like to use is just like, hey, this is Will from Grin. Can you help me out for a second? And then kind of just like having them say like, yes, what's up? And then I kind of lay into it. Another opener would be Morgan's is like, hey, am I calling at the absolute worst time right now? And then kind of get the prospect in more of like a happier state. But that's just my feedback. I think the opener could be
Thank you very
tweaked.
much.
And then I think, of course, and then I think overall, like wrapping up, maybe kind of understanding that like just calling Morgan out a little bit more. Like, Morgan, it really seems like you're just trying to brush me off the phone. Like, typically when someone does this, it means one of two things. Number one, they're not interested in Grin, or number two, influencer marketing is not a priority. Which one are you? So you can label Morgan at the end of the call. So like that's what I do for my software, and you sell ERP software, right?
Yes, exactly. These are big accounts, and this is slightly different from applications, because this is a huge project taking 1-2 years to implement, and big money involved.
Big money.
Yep.
So you did your tone was great. Your persistence was amazing. Just a couple areas for improvement on the opener and the close, but that's my feedback. I think I love the fact that you came up here, because it means you're probably just going to keep getting better and better.
Thank you so much, Will. It's really supporting. Thanks.
Yeah, Will took the majority of the feedback. I was going to say, I saw that. I think someone put it in the chat as well. If you just led with what you said in the middle as the beginning, that's the key point. When you say, like, the thing is, when you say numbers like 50%, that could be massively confusing for people, because that could just mean so many different things. And someone's 50% as one company in an industry could be different as another company in an industry. So I would have led with just that use case that you mentioned in the automotive industry. I just would have led with that, and that would have been a more compelling, more interesting, and would have gone from there. I like that you were persistent. I like that you continuously pushed. That was great. But those are the things I'd point out to what you were doing already.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks, Morgan.
You're welcome. All right, y'all. If you got any more questions, okay, cool. Let's see. We're gonna answer the questions before we bring in the next person. So this is just, hey, I'm starting out. First week as an SDR. So congrats, welcome. I'm not sure how you're gonna start prospecting or cold calling. Fair. Just started following you and hopped into the call. Could you guide me to some sources to start off with? So, Will, we'll start with you. What sources did you start off with to help you be successful? We can go from there.
Follow Morgan, guys. follow
Appreciate
Morgan. When I first started out as an SDR, really there wasn't too much social influencers talking about their day-to-day, and I was at a startup where we really didn't have too many processes in place. So I really leaned on LinkedIn and following Morgan and his company's advice on some of the things that I should do as an SDR. Now, today, there's a lot of others just like Morgan, including myself and others on LinkedIn, who really post great content that you can use in your day-to-day practice. So I'd say start getting a list of some good LinkedIn influencers and kind of watch what they post and take some stuff from them.
Yeah, I would also, three things. One is there's a ton of great assets out there. Obviously, you're here. We do these mock cold calls. We have the SDR Zone at Cognism, so you can go check that out. Number two is I'd go listen to 30 Minutes of President's Club. They have a lot of great advice and good techniques and tips there. But I would tell you what I did when I was an SDR is I listened to everything I could. Like, I just found resources. I went to YouTube and I typed in how to be a better sales development rep. And I took 1 to 2, 3 things every single week and I tried it. And that's what helped me be successful in the role. I just took information and I always tried it. And I didn't try to overthink it. I didn't try to say, oh, I don't know. I just did it. And so, Liam, that's what I would tell you to do as well. And that should help you along your journey. So hopefully I helped to answer the question. All right. So let's see what else we have here as well. Make sure we got all the Q&As. All right, cool. So let's get the next person. Pedro, what's going on?
Oh, all right. Caught me off guard. Hey, all good. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, good. You were in the queue. So hey, look.
Excellent, excellent. So what do you
Okay.
need from me to get the
Same thing as the last person. So what buyer personas are you going after? What is the product that you're selling? And then also you can tell us how long you've been cold calling. It's helpful too. And then we'll get into it.
cold calling? I've been around 4 years, but an SDR really been just about 2 months in right now with the company. Before it was more incoming calls, more as a
Okay, inbound.
sales. Yeah, just it wasn't much out cold calling. So anyway, the software we sell software. It's for it's very niche. It's induction heating, so it's simulation software for companies that deal with induction heating. And yeah, I normally, at least my company, what their ICP is usually engineers. So it's people that don't get contacted much or don't get many calls. So sometimes, yeah, I can have 10 to 15-minute conversations with them. But at the same time, it's quite hard for me at the moment to book the demo calls, which is my main goal as an SDR currently.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Will, you wanna be the prospect? All right, well, we'll be the prospect. You call him, and then we'll start from there.
All right. So I start with a ring ring.
Hello.
Hi, hello. I know you're expecting my call. Do you have a moment to speak? I promise I'll be brief.
Um, I'm sorry. I'm expecting your call.
No, you're not expecting my
Oh,
call. Sorry. Do you have a moment? I promise to be brief.
sure. Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, so I'm looking to understand a little bit better if you guys deal with heat treatments in your company. Is that something that you would know by any chance?
Yeah, we definitely do.
Okay. Would you happen to know if one of those heat treatments in particular is with induction heating?
It is.
Great, great. Could you maybe tell me a little bit more about what kind of parts or work pieces do you treat with induction heating?
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm kind of confused here. Who are you and what company are you calling with?
Sure. So I'm actually calling from a company called Cenos. We're a software simulation company, and we deal with companies like yours to streamline their processes when it comes to induction heating in particular. I'm not sure if you work with simulation softwares at the moment in your heat treatment.
We don't, but what do you mean by streamline?
So, for example, actually, we had a client last week that we finished helping out. We managed to cut off their design timeline by about 80%. They normally took about 2 to 3 weeks to design the part, to then put it into prototyping and doing several tests. And they usually, yeah, like I was saying, takes 2 to 3 weeks for them. And now with simulation, they don't have to do the prototyping physically, and it can take them only 3 to 4 days to even do this. In some cases, can even be less depending on your workload.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's basically the rough of it.
I mean, this sounds pretty cool. I'm just gonna be transparent, Pedro. Um, I'm not even in charge of like budget or spend, and I don't know how I can even get this proposed to the team. So I would just say to email someone else on the team because I don't know anything about what we have left to spend.
Okay, well, at the moment, I'm not looking to understand your budget in particular. It's more about seeing if we would be a right fit or not. So that's why I wanted to maybe offer to look into our software a little bit more, see if you, in particular, that since I understand you work with the induction heating hands-on, to see if yeah, if you would find a benefit in your work for you professionally also to grow within the company, to if you would like to just have a look at it.
I mean, I'll have a look, but just knowing that I don't have too much about the budget just wanted to be transparent. I don't really know too much about that.
Okay, now who would be the person in charge of the budgeting then?
So it'd be the director of engineering. His name's Morgan.
Morgan. All right, all right. Well, what we can do is in this demo, which is without any obligations or anything, it's no longer than 60 minutes. In the demonstration of the software, you can send us even a work piece that you deal with. We can invite Morgan just to showcase our software, how it could benefit you or not, and take it from there. What do you think of that?
I'll invite Morgan, but might just be me. That being said, if it is something that I think we could use, yeah, I'd be open to seeing it.
Okay, okay. How about this? Are you available by any chance this week for, yeah, no, it takes no longer than 60 minutes, the meeting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Available.
What about tomorrow afternoon? Any time particular?
We could do 3:00 UK time.
UK time. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, that works for me. All right. Google Meet works for you for the presentation?
That works.
Excellent. And well, I'll ask you for your email and Morgan's email if you have it also, please.
Yep. It's Will at XYZ, Morgan at XYZ.
Okay. Great. Great. All right. Well, in that case, well, I don't know if you had any questions for me at this point.
No, if you wouldn't mind in that email, send me a little bit more information on your company. And then if you could link some case studies of that company you talked about, saving them 80% of time, I'd really appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. I have that information available. And just one last thing. What would you think would wow Morgan in that email if you had to put something there that would catch his eye to make him want to really attend this demo?
I would definitely link that case study to 80% because, I mean, we're always trying to save time, improve processes. Yeah, just link that. I think he would at least like to read it.
Perfect. Excellent. All right. Yeah, I think that's something we could definitely discuss further then. And all right, thank you for your time. Well, I'll send you over the email shortly with the invitation.
Sounds great. Thanks, Pedro.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Very well done.
I don't know why.
So they said, "Hey, Will, we don't get prospects like you." So
I think you did a great job around the budget question. I said, I don't know about budget. You said, I'm not calling about your budget. I'm calling to see if this is going to be a fit. I really liked that. And I think that's what kept me on the phone was like, I'm going to do the demo just because he's telling me it's going to help me possibly. And if anything, if I'm an engineer, which I'm not, I might just be, my brother calls engineers and sometimes these guys are like totally like spaz on the phone. Like they're like, like who's calling me? Or they're like, hey, I haven't talked to anyone all day. This could be a really, this could be like a cool thing. So maybe you're getting an engineer who just wants to see something, maybe it's something new.
Yeah. Yeah, it does happen a lot.
But Morgan, what's your feedback, bro?
Yeah, I wrote down a couple things. I know what you were trying to do, but this is very like small here in terms of the intro. Just making sure that you say not expecting the call because you said expect. I think that's what caused that riff there, but I mean that's semantics. I think overall though, you had a really good pace and you asked really good questions to get to where you needed to go. You never were like rattled, which is like super key. I think hopefully everyone paid attention to that. Like you didn't really get like all over the place. You weren't like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Like you're pretty consistent on what needed to happen, which I think was great. So that was good there. I also like the way that you asked really good follow-up questions when things were happening to get a better understanding as well. And I think that was really key across the board. And I was thinking like when you mentioned induction heating is like, is there a way to ask maybe a different question? Because you have to mention induction heating, then you have to say, is that something that you're currently looking at? Like maybe there's a way to piece those questions together to get to the pitch faster. But those are all the things that I had written down. So hopefully that feedback is helpful. If anybody in the comments has feedback, obviously throw that in there as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Pedro. Great job.
All right. Good stuff,
Cheers.
Pedro. All right, y'all. So if you have more questions, the key here is throw them in the chat and throw them in the Q&A, actually, the text Q&A, because we want to answer some questions before the next person here as we're moving through this quick. But yes, Bryce, actually I'm going to share this real quick. This is actually the one I always recommend people to ask this question. I completely forgot to mention this. Asking someone what will wow them is such a good piece of insight, because now you know what to give the indecision maker, you know what to provide them, you know what to say, right? And so by saying, hey, here's how you're going to wow this person, that's going to be infinitely exponentially important as you go and want to talk to people. So that's something that I would highly recommend for people to do across the board. All right. So make sure that you're getting into that. Cool. All right. So what we're going to do here is, because you have we got about 5 to 10 minutes left. We may not have time for an actual cold call here, but what we do have time for is some Q&As. If y'all want to throw them in the text Q&A so that we can get on to the things we have to do in our day. One thing that I want to ask you, Will, because this happened a couple times when people were looking to close and things of that nature. When you're looking at closing a cold call, how do you close that call? Do you just say, hey, do you have your calendar up? Is there a question you ask to prompt them into it? What are the closes that you use? I think that'd be helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah, a close on a cold call, I'd say hey, got it. How does next Wednesday at 3:00 work for you? I just say a time and a date and see, or that's best case scenario. But let's just say I'll say, look, hey, would you be opposed to meeting, let's just say next Wednesday at 3:00 to see if our software is even a fit for what you're looking to do with your influencer marketing program? Typically, these calls last about 45 minutes, but for you, we could trim it down to about 15 to 20 minutes.
Perfect.
I like to use that for you line. I like to say typically demos are this time, but for you, I'll make an exception. It makes the prospect feel a bit more special.
Yeah, they're like, oh, yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. No, I like that. Cool. I don't know if anyone else has anything they want to add in there, but let us know. All right, so we have some questions coming through. What are your favorite replies to send me an email with more information? We'll talk to us. I know we talked about this on another thing that we did. So yeah, we could break this one down.
Yeah, I mean, you could always use Michael's. Come on,
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one. I think for me, I just say, hey, typically when someone says send me an email, it means one of two things. It means you're not interested in our software, or this isn't a priority. Which one is it for you? I'm a big labeler because I want the prospect to tell me, not for me to assume. Or I could just say, send me an email. We know where that's going, the trash.
That's actually fair. I think you can play around with this one. I always like just saying hey, what exactly are you looking for? And then once they tell me, I say, hey, I'll send you that information, and I do a give get. If I see that information, it's best that typically we schedule a call next week to go over that. That's my play with it, but you can do anything that you want here. But that's my normal typical play, and that one's one of my favorites. So, Chris, hopefully I have to answer your question. We have another one. How to deal with an objection. This is my personal number. How did you get it? Using Cognism in the UK. I've been getting this a lot. So, Will, help out Craig here.
I mean, this is a funny one because usually people who say this are not receptive to a cold call. I usually say, hey, so I'm just going to be transparent with you. We have a software that pulls phone numbers, and this is the one that we have in our CRM for your contact record.
How's the response when that happens?
They say, well, this is my personal number. Don't call it. I'd be like, hey, you know what? I totally agree. It sounds like it's inappropriate to call you on your personal number. is there a better business line that I can use to contact you? Or is this just like you don't accept any calls at all and you just want people to email you? And then basically like have them tell me. And that sometimes they'll say like, well, what's this about? And then maybe I can get them on the phone for a little bit longer. But if people are going crazy about this, like, I'm just like, okay, is there a better number?
Yeah. So this one's very intriguing because it's like if you, especially when people like work in tech and they ask how did you get this number, that doesn't make any sense to me. First and foremost, like it's like okay, like we're in tech, like what are we talking about? But right, I think it's with Will's insight. I would go there. I would definitely do that. You could do so many different things here, right? You could say, hey, completely my bad. This was just again in our database, and I called, thought it was your office line. I'll remove it to make sure move forward. You don't get these calls. But while we're here, do you have 30 seconds to hear me out? There's a lot of ways you can do it. That's like the personal way that I go about it. But I would just acknowledge it, and I would move forward to still try to have the conversation. If they push back on you, then you could say, hey, sounds like you're not a huge fan of cold calls. Is it easier for me to email you? And that's something you can do as well. So there's a lot of different components and things that you could do here that would help you be successful and that can get you across the line. But I would make sure to handle this and make sure to get in front of it because most of the people are just going to like say that as a deterrent to get you off the phone, but you have to make sure that you're being mindful on this. So that's how I would handle that. So Craig, let me know if that was helpful here as well. Okay, so I have another question, and it came from a message. So I can't share it on the screen, but I will say it. So if you're working for a corporate company representing 9 different acquired technologies, what will the initial steps be and call approach be? A general introduction of the company and what we do in general, or would you use a granular example of the different technologies? Would you do research for each call beforehand or have a general approach to understand if you can have value? Loaded question there. So Will, what's your take? I know it's a couple of things to think about. I could go ahead as you think about it. So the thing is, this is hard because you really don't know. And the only way you would really know is if you look at historical data and see what has worked and what has not. And so when I say that, and essentially why I'm presenting that, is because what has worked. If you look at all your cold calls, typically there's a certain product that's really been nailing it and has been successful, right? And so from there, that then allows you to get in front of the right people that you want to get in front of, right? And so if I know the CIO responds really well to a certain product, I might lead with that, right? But in this scenario, I tell people to just lean on what are the pain points that these technologies solve. And I try to lead with those and try to see, based on what we're hearing so far, what's the best. And so I lead with pain points and then I try to figure out from there. It is a lot harder with 9, to be fair, but I don't know what they all solve. I don't know if they're similar, crossover, completely different. But I would start diving into that to understand what's happening there. But that's like my advice to you on how you can start thinking about it. But Will, what's your take? Because it's a little harder one because there's so many different perspectives here.
Yeah, I think that it's tough with the 9. I'd say just like work with your account executive on like a good pitch that isn't too that doesn't require too much research, because you don't want to be like literally researching every single prospect every time you make a cold call. So try and develop something that's somewhat more generalized, but generalized where you can still tweak it. So you can understand about the 9 different companies. And when you make a cold call, you have a Rolodex of how to twist it for one of the 9, if that makes sense. So you make your general call, hey, we're helping people in your space from X, Y, and Z. You already have 3 of those companies in mind for one of those 9 software companies. So that's just what I would say. Just invest maybe 3 hours on a Monday or something and figure out some similar companies from each of the 9 companies you work with, and some clients that they support of each of the 9, and have that kind of on speed dial.
Hopefully I helped answer the question there. Let us know. I appreciate you sending that our way. Okay, so we're gonna get to 2 more, and then we're gonna bounce from here. Hopefully, y'all been finding this helpful. If you have, let us know in the chat. What are some things you do to combat cold calling nerves? This is a straightforward answer. Y'all are gonna laugh at this. I have a song that I play every single time before I go do cold calls, and essentially, I prime myself to feel comfortable and confident going in the situation, just like a baseball player will play a song before they go up to the bat or go up to the plate, essentially. So that's what I would tell you to do. That will help you be confident. But Will, I don't know what your take is, but that's the best way I've been able to combat it. Having a song, getting prepared, getting into it.
Definitely agree with the song. And I like to stand up. So I can't sit down making cold calls. I have to walk around like I'm on a very serious business call. So I'd recommend you play some music and you walk around. A power move, if you have a hot spot, this is like a straight up power move, is to take a walk around the block, ripping cold calls in like a dialer. That you won't even care what they say. You'll be so happy you're just on the walk.
I love that. I love the standing up. That's the piece. Chris, my song, it's pretty ratchet. I'm not going to lie, but you asked. So it's Juicy J's Scholarship. So you can go listen to that song and you can have some fun with that one. But it is one of my favorite ones. And then last quick question here. I need to reach the C-suite. What's a good way to get the geek? What's the way to get the gatekeeper to give me more information? I've said this a lot. So my advice on this, I've said so many times, but I can quickly go over it. But Will, what's your take on this one?
I don't know if it's not on the screen here.
Oh yeah. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. There it is. Good way to get the gatekeeper to give you more details.
I mean, I'm gonna steal one that yours is, bro. So just go. So because I learned it from you.
Yeah. So I just call it like lost at the amusement park is what I call it. So basically, you go up to someone and say, "Can you help me?" And so when you ask them, "Can you help me?" They're like, "Oh yeah, how?" Like, "Oh yeah, how can I help?" And then you ask for the things that you want so that you can get in front of the C-suite. What you ask for, that is within your realm of what you want. I mean, you could ask for the meeting, you could ask for information, details, etc. But when you ask people to help, they're more willing to help you. It opens up their state, easier to have a conversation, and you go from there. So that's what I do there. Ask, "Can you help me?" And then that ends up being a good conversation. So hopefully that helped answer that question there. As I said, we would get through all those questions promptly. And now we're out of here. So Will, tell us where they could find you if they want more advice, and where can they go from here?
Thanks, Morgan. Yeah, it was great. Thanks for having me on the Cognism team. And Morgan, you can find me on LinkedIn at Will Padilla. You can also find me on TikTok at Sell That SaaS.
Awesome. And we will continuously do these, y'all. So stay tuned on the next one. Thank you so much for people coming on live. Hopefully that was helpful to you in the advice. And hopefully the advice we gave on the questions was helpful too, so you can move forward with confidence. So again, hopefully you have a great rest of your day. Will, appreciate you hopping on, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
Thank you, everyone.